We're going to be joined by Adesumbo Adeoye. She's a multi-passionate entrepreneur, the CEO, by the way, and Chief Director at ESOP Events and founder of ESOP Heroes. Sumbo is a mentor to many and a recipient of numerous awards for her dedication and contribution towards progressive initiatives and humanity in Nigeria. She also recently published a self-guide book titled Parenting a Creative Child, and she'll be talking about stereotypic behavior towards the career a male or female child should pursue. And I think right now we have Adesumbo with us. Good morning, Adesumbo.
Good morning, Mazino. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Thank you very much for joining us again.
You're welcome.
And I'm very excited about today's topic, by the way. Many a times, growing up, parents always want to either pick what they want for us to, or the path they want us to go in. And I believe that that had maybe a significant effect, good or bad, in how we turned out. But you're the experts, and so today that's what we're talking about. So first off, why is this a big concern in any case?
You know, I want to start off with the Bible. The Bible says, train up a child the way it should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. What parents usually do is they want to train up an adult. You know, they don't start the process early enough to try to help the child in the right path. You know, growing up, I also fell into that category where our parents thought being a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or a banker were the only profession. But these days, you see professions and things that we used to call hobbies. We have professional dancers, you have professional musicians, you have professional. In fact, there's something called influencers in this age and time.
Yeah.
But if you tell your parents you want to be an influencer, they don't see any value in it. They don't see it as a profession. In fact, they think you are playing. You know, see, trying to get a child to do what you want them to do can be a hard pill to swallow. And parents need to be very patient with their children. They need to start early, and then they need to see the handwritings. They need to see the signs and know where the passion of their children lies, instead of trying to train up an adult and then, you know, it becomes really difficult.
So how can parents actually identify where the kids, the children's passions are? When should they do that identification?
You see, the children would always express their passion. They would always express the things that they're interested in form of their intelligence or the things that catches their attention. Now, it is the responsibility of parents to read between the lines, to see those signs and learn to nurture it. You see, a lot of parents, when they see their children tilting towards a particular thing that they are interested in, some parents don't see value in it, and that's where we miss it. So a lot of parents need to pay attention. See, parenting requires a consistent coaching approach. It's not just a one-off thing. You have to be patient, you have to be consistent, and you have to support the child on time. Sometimes you just see the child as being too playful, or they talk too much. That's broadcasting, that's journalism, that's public speaking that you have in your child. But the ability to be able to now interpret it in such a way that it becomes valuable is what my book, Parenting a Creative Child, helps parents to do.
Now, I noticed that you use the term coaching. What's the difference from teaching or guiding? Why do you specifically use the word coaching?
Okay, I would use a coaching because sometimes parents yell. And I say, you don't yell at a flower that is not growing. You nurture it. You're patient with your plants. You're patient with your flower. But with your children, you're so in a hurry. You want them to become all of these things like this. And so parents tend to yell, they tend to scold, they tend to reprimand, use words haphazardly. And that's not the right way. When you're coaching, you're patient. When you're coaching, you're taking it one step at a time. There's a goal. And it's an achievable goal. It's a realistic goal. It takes time. It takes process. And that's why I use the word coaching. So we need to understand these things when it comes to our children. Quit yelling, start coaching, and be patient. Listen to them. Help them to develop this, the talents and the giftings they have. Help them to develop it and be patient with them. See, with children, it can be very, very hard to get them to do things. But when you leave them, or you try to ask them, you try to connect with them and ask questions. How can I make this easy for you to achieve? you would hear them say, they would respond to you.
Or listen
And
to
with
them.
their response, if you listen attentively, then you'll be able to coach them the right way.
Okay. So what are the adverse effects that parents could find when they choose the method of yelling or scolding their kids when they're trying to guide them? What are the,
You see,
how do I put it now?
in fact, yes, I understand what you're
Yeah,
trying to
exactly.
say. When
What
you
effect does it have
force
on the
a
kids?
child to do, yes, they begin to become resentful. They can even resist. They can develop a resistance to you. And when you look at them, you seem to see an attitude that come to you as being rude or indisciplined, or that's because you're forcing them, you're pushing them too hard, so they become resistant and resentful.
Okay.
And I mean, you don't want your child to be resistant and resentful to
No,
you.
no.
So
All right,
I don't
to tell
support
you what we're going to
forcing.
do. We're going to go on a break,
Yes.
but we're not done yet. We're going to come back to you and
Okay.
have more on this topic because it's a very interesting one, and parents out there watching do have plenty to learn from you. So do stay tuned. Adesumbo will be back right after this break. And you're welcome back. It's Wake Up Nigeria. We still have with us Adesumbo Adeoye, and we are talking about children today in parenting. We're talking about stereotypical career. Well, if you want to help your kids push forward in a specific, or at least help them nurture their passions, how to go about it. So Adesumbo, welcome back.
Thank you, Mazino.
Adesumbo, do you have kids yourself?
Oh, yes. I
Okay.
have 3 boys and I just had a little baby girl.
Oh, you have an army there.
It's like bragging about it. Yes.
I have one question
4
for you,
times the
however.
mommy.
What do you want your boys to be?
Oh, well, it's not much of what I want them to be.
Aha.
I just want them to fulfill purpose. I
No.
want them to fulfill purpose. Now,
I
it
ask
doesn't
that
really
because-
matter the area where they choose to fulfill purpose.
I asked that intentionally.
Do you want me to tell you about my boys?
Please do, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, you see, my first son, while he was growing up, he just loved to play ball. Now, that decision came from me because of the type of toys I bought for him while growing up.
Okay.
If I had bought cooking utensils, probably he would have loved to cook. And that's what we see. Parents are the ones who nurture these children to a particular passion because they come into knowing what is applicable, what is available. We're the ones who expose them to it. It could be through TV, through one-on-one relationship that we connect with our families and friends and all of that. But over time, they pick one of these things we have exposed them to,
Yeah.
and they start to enjoy it, they start to love it. Then halfway, we want to change everything because being a doctor is better than being a cook or whatever stereotype we have developed over the years. Now, I have a son who loves to play soccer. And I think I influenced it because of the type of toys that I introduced to him as an infant or as a toddler. Now, before time, we just realized that Nino, he plays anything rollable, anything that is rollable is shooting. And before I knew it, now he joined the school team. He was the soccer captain. Now, this was one thing that happened along the line. I went for one of their school presentations one day, and my son was playing the saxophone. He was so good, I was so excited. I felt, wow, this is a good one. Why don't I just get him a saxophone teacher?
Yeah.
And, get all these gadgets and all of that. And over time, I was burning the poor boy out.
Aw.
I felt, if he plays saxophone, he's beautiful, but he just wanted to play ball. So
Yeah.
parents need to be very careful. We shouldn't push them too much. We should ask questions. We might see it as an opportunity for them to become great, unquote, but they can be great at anything. They can be great at arts and crafts. They
Yeah.
can be great at soccer. They can be great at debating. They can be great at being a doctor or whatever.
You see,
So it doesn't
Adesumbo,
really have to be
that's
that one thing.
that's a very practical sample you've just given us there. Now,
Yes.
my initial question was, I was going to lead again by asking what or how much of a measure the influence of parents should go into kids' choices. And I mean, like you said, you exposed your son to this and that and that.
Yes.
Is that all that's needed? And in this time and age,
In
how many
fact-
parents can expose their kids to all the options that they have? There's so many
fact,
options, and there's very little
Parents
income.
don't even need to expose them. They are already exposed by the fact that parents are now too busy. They leave the children with gadgets, they leave the children with TV. And so it is the media that that tries to teach our children the things they need to be exposed to. So parenting is deliberate. You have to be careful. The Bible
Deliberate.
says in Proverbs 29 that a child that is left alone brings disgrace to the mother. And you know, that's because the mother has huge influence. We're the ones who breastfeed the baby. We're the ones who see the baby's first, anyway, maybe after the gynecologist or whoever is in the delivery room. But the mother seem to be the first person who sees the baby and connects with the baby skin to skin. So our influence as mothers, in fact, let me just use parents. Our influence as parents is enormous. So we need to be careful. We need to be deliberate. We need to be very, very deliberate, because if I had not exposed my child to soccer, he may not know what football is on time. He may eventually learn about it, maybe because someone around is playing ball, but he may not nurture that much. You know, you need to see my son play soccer. Oh my God, he is so good, and I can brag about it.
I can see that you are. Well, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
What about specific roles? And I mean, you've spoken so much about the mother's influence, but what about the father's influence in the options that the kids or the children choose? Is there any specific influence from the father?
Yes, I would first recommend that fathers connect with their children. You see, growing up, fathers are seen as that macho figure in the house that is
Yes.
quick to control or reprimand or correct or discipline. You know, fathers should please tone it down, connect, and play with their children. When you play with your child, speak to your child, you tend to nurture how they react to things in life. You hear them out. You listen to them attentively and influence them. The way and manner with which you speak back to your child is the beginning. Your relationship with your child is one of the most important things in the world to you as a parent. So you need to nurture it with a lot of love and be attentive. So fathers, please tone it down. Yes, we know you want to be all macho, you want to be all, you want to discipline the child, you want the child to be a man and all of that. But please, you can tone it down. You can play with your child. You can nurture your child in love. That way you influence them.
What
Take
are the
time out.
effects,
Don't be
however?
too busy. Oh, the effect is that the child will grow up in a nurturing environment. And a child that grows up in an environment that is peaceful, loving, they tend to become great. They tend to be balanced citizens. And when they are balanced citizens, the world becomes a better place.
Oh, that's very interesting. We've learned plenty.
Thank you.
Would we find all of this in your book, by the way?
Oh, yes, Parenting a Creative
I
Child
can
is a
see it there
self-help
right by
guide.
you.
Right here. It's I'm so passionate about this book because I poured out my experience as a mother, and here it is. There's no one size fits all. So you need to understand your child. You need to know your child yourself. You need to connect with your child. So don't go with that approach like, oh, it's a self-help. It's a guide. It's not a one size fits all. However, it would help you. It has principles, workable, relatable. These are principles that have worked with me, and a lot of parents have attested to the fact that these principles are working, and I believe it will work with anyone who lays hand on the book, reads it, digests it, and then use it.
All right. Well, thank you very, very much, Adisumbo. We've
Thank you,
absolutely enjoyed your
Marcino.
stay here with us today. And of course, we're
It's
looking
such a
forward to
joy
having you
to be
back
joined to
again.
you.
And hey, say
Thank
me
you.
hi to the boys and the girl.
Thank you.
All right, then.